Hey guys, today we're taking a look at my Ojama deck. Now Ojamas have a few different strategies. They can switch attack and defense, they can swarm, they can nuke the field. So my deck kind of does all the things that Ojamas can do, and it kind of works in a few different ways, and you can kind of choose how you want to go about it. So first off, 3 of all the main Ojamas, really not much to say there. 0 attack and 1000 defense. Ojama Red used to swarm like crazy. You can special summon pretty much all the Ojamas that you can and fill up the field in seconds. Tour Guide from the Underworld, very good for this deck, giving you access to XYZs and powerful plays, which is very nice. You can do some very powerful things after you bring out the Ojamas. And then we have Ojama Blue, very good to search out what you need, especially the field card, especially Ojama Delta Hurricane if you're going for nuking the field. Definitely important to get Ojama Country as well. And because of how Ojamas work, you can kind of just get this back and reuse this effect, which is really nice. And then Night Assailant, used for the 3rd tour guide, always a good effect as well. And then Cardcar D, you need definitely need a lot of cards to make this deck work to use the certain hand situation, because you're using a lot of spell cards, so I think Cardcar can be very, very important. So now for the spell cards, Ojamagic, used to get all the Ojamas from your deck to your hand, which is very, very nice to set up the plays to swarm with Ojama Red, to do Ojama Delta Hurricane. Very, very important. And the other cards in this deck allow Ojamagic to work. Ojama Country, so the field card for Ojamas switches attack and defense, and you could dump an Ojama card to get another Ojama card. It could be any Ojama card, so the big thing that you'll do is dump Ojamagic and summon whatever Ojama you need. This deck also uses Ojama Knight, so you can summon him as well. This could lead to some very, very powerful plays. And then we have Ojama Delta Hurricane, 2 of this. Very powerful card, obviously, nuking the field. It's your choice how many you want to run. Because with this deck you could have a few different options, you don't have to focus on it. I still like having 2, just because your ability to use this card is pretty easy with how easy you can dump Ojamagic and get what you need. And then we have Tri-Wight, so really good in this deck because after dumping your Ojamas, you can get them back very easily to XYZ or to use Delta Hurricane again. Very, very powerful. And then Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion is just used to get Ojama Knight and then dump him into the graveyard so you can use him later on. Definitely a choice whether you want to use this or not, but can be really nice for bringing up good field position on top of locking down your opponent a little bit. So it can be very nice. You can definitely run an Ojama lockdown deck. Not currently what I'm trying to do, but I might talk about that a little bit in the side deck. Upstart Goblin, just to thin the deck a little bit. Hand Destruction, very good for this deck. Dumping Ojamas, dumping Ojamagic to get what you need. And also Magical Hats. Magical Hats is used to destroy Ojamagic, so immediately you'll get a ton of Ojamas to your hand, which is definitely very useful. So now for the extra deck, we're going to have 2 Ojama Knights because we have 2 Instant Fusions, obviously. So he locks down the opponent a little bit, and 2500 defense, which will obviously be attack when you bring him out with Ojama Country. And we're going to have a lot of 2-stars. When you're thinking about the XYZs in this deck, definitely keep an eye on the defense value and think about how that will help you when your Ojama Country is out. So Gachi Gachi is awesome for Ojamas because obviously they can XYZ into him, and then they'll power up the Ojamas and he'll have like 2200 attack when Ojama Country is up. So this leads us some very, very powerful field positions if you can get 1 or 2 of these up. Daigusto, always a strong 2-star. Ronin Raccoon, a very, very good card just in general for 2-star beasts, so you can lead to some very powerful plays if you can bring this guy out and then bring out those tokens. Dark Mist, obviously with swarming, 2 stars, an obvious choice, very strong effect. For the 3 stars, pretty typical ones, Leviathan. Alucard has balanced stats, so that's nice. Grenosaurus also has very balanced stats, again very good for Ojamas. Leviair, again balanced stats, always a good card. Zenmaines obviously will become more of an attacker in this deck, and always a great card. And Acid Golem, just an obvious great choice for this type of deck. So now for the side deck. Again, side decks in my videos are kind of just recommended cards when you're building your own Ojama deck. You might want to think about these cards and think about how you can run them if they might interest you. It isn't a side deck for matches. So Super-Nimble Mega Hamster, just allowing you to summon an Ojama, which can be useful. Honest, this is a light-based deck, so Honest can be useful, but we're using the Ojamas for other things, so it's debatable whether you want to run this. Shining Angel can search out, but we kind of have enough stuff to do that. Junk Synchron is a really good card for this deck because you can bring him out, summon an Ojama, Synchro. You can also run Chaos cards like Blackluster Soldier if you run Junk Synchron, and Trigodia and stuff like that, and Gores because you don't run back row. So there's a lot of situations for that. Ojamas can definitely work into a Synchro deck. There's a lot of powerful plays you can do. You know, if you do run that combo, I specifically said you can run like Frozen Fitsgerald, which is also a very powerful Synchro. You know, on top of those like really high level Synchros you can run because you're swarming so much with the Ojamas. You can run Ojama King and Polymerization. This kind of leads to the lockdown, allowing you to really annoy your opponent. You know, bring out Ojama King and Ojama Knight, and your opponent can't bring out any monsters. So definitely an interesting choice. If you're running Ojama King, you can also run Ojamuscle, which can be interesting. Shield and Sword also can be good for Ojamas, obviously, but we're focusing more on Ojama Country. United We Stand is actually really good if you're focusing on kind of the original Ojamas, because you can swarm out with Ojama Red and instantly get, you know, a 4,000 attack boost on a monster. Enchanted Fitting Room, one of those cards that will allow you to get normal monsters out. There's a lot of normal monster support, and this is one of them, allowing you to swarm very quickly. And then Ojama Trio, just useful in this type of deck. Again, really locking down your opponent. You definitely can do some annoying plays with this if you're focusing more on those fusions. Trap Stun, very good for setting up the big OTKs and plays you're doing. Nomenclature can be, I think I'm pronouncing that right, can be very useful, kind of to do the same thing. It's kind of like an Infernal Reckless Summon for these level 2 normal monsters. Obviously Ojama Yellow is on the artwork, so you can tell it's an Ojama fitted card. Just again, in line with the other normal monster support. There's a lot of normal monster, you know, special summoning and support, especially for the lower levels. So that's my Ojama deck. Very fun to play, very weird. Can do some really crazy plays that your opponent might not be expecting, and all these cards really work pretty well together. The big weakness is you're not really running any back row, so you really have to depend on these big plays, but luckily you can keep doing them over and over again, so that's very nice. But if you guys have your own Ojama decks, you can post below, let me know in the comments, talk about what cards you use, and make suggestions for me. But that is it for me. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.